All right, we got our recording going. Okay, guys, welcome to our first analysis call. So we did our strategy call last week, and now we're on to analysis. Now, analysis, if you guys haven't figured out, is really the cornerstone of this whole program. It's almost impossible to move forward if you don't know what comes out of analysis. And we've had a lot of conversations with individuals that want to skip analysis. In fact, they want to skip creation and go right to traffic. And we really got to put the brakes on you and say, whoa, pull the horses in here. You're not quite ready for that. So even writing copy, it's great to write copy. Copywriting is a great skill. But seriously, if you've got the information out of your book, it's going to make the copywriting portion so much easier. Like if you know all of your objections, you're going to know what claim proof benefits to create and what to write about. If you've pulled all this stuff out, you're going to be able to write your benefits so much easier because all the information is going to be right there. It's just you now crafting it into a written story. So it's just going to make it so much easier. And I talked a little bit about this on the earlier call. If you get to the point of creation, which a lot of people are going to do, you're going to get to this point and you're not going to feel good about your copywriting skills at some point. And you'll want to know, hey, what would it take for me to outsource this? There's a lot of really good copywriters out there, and they can do that for you if that will advance you through. The whole idea is to keep you from stalling out. If you can, muscle through the copywriting and do it yourself, that's awesome. We're here to help you do that. We're here to critique for you. I've even rewritten a lot of people's copy for them. I'll get it and we'll go back and forth and I'll wind up, just rewriting it for them. And, that's okay. But the idea is to not let it get you stalled out. If I would rather see you spend some money and go to a copywriter than stall out. None of the stuff you have to do yourself after analysis. I would highly recommend that you do your own analysis, though. That's the piece of act that I wouldn't farm out for anything, because that's going to be the foundation. And nobody's going to do that like you are. Nobody's going to think about your business like you will. The copywriting, if you have your analysis done and you have your, all that information in your book, and you go to a copywriter and you hand it to them, they will be able to do a stellar job for you. If you go to them and you don't have that, what's going to happen, and I see this, I've even done it myself. I've wasted money on copywriters because I didn't have my act together. And what they do, the first thing that they do with you is they'll pull out a form and they'll go down the list and they'll ask you a bunch of questions. And guess what? 90% of those questions are going to be in the workbook. They're going to be what you've worked on to be able to do the copywriting. And if you don't have it done, what's going to happen is you're going to fire off the cuff. You're going to give them the answers they need because they're right in front of you, and you want to get this done. They won't be the right answers. They won't be good. It'll just be, whatever comes off the cuff. And that's exactly what you're going to get back from their copywriting, is you're going to get back what you put in. So if you give them garbage, you're not going to get much more than garbage back. And that's not what you want to do with copy. Copy is the only thing you have to convert. I mean, that's what's going to do it. The copy related around your offer, the copy related around overcoming objections, the copy related to talking specifically to your prospect, that's what's going to convert. That's the whole reason that we create a funnel, because you want to be able to send cold traffic into a funnel that takes them from being a cold prospect into knowing, liking, and trusting you and believing that your product is what they need. It creates demand and desire for your product. And that's what's going to make them buy. There's certain beliefs that they're going to need, and those beliefs are all discovered in the analysis process. If you don't understand the beliefs and you haven't discovered them, how are you going to write about them? How are you going to create copy around them? That's the big question. So, yes, Cheryl, you need to unmute there.
So when I'm in the display planner doing the work, I don't know if I can escape this to show you. Can you see my screen?
If you share it, we can.
Okay, I got to find you guys now. I just lost you.
There's a little share button down on the bottom.
I want to show you this because I don't understand what's happening with it.
Okay.
And I don't know if anybody else has noticed this as well. But when I go to Display Planner and it has total network inventory weekly with my medical diary as my keyword, that 1 billion to 5 billion cookies, 10 billion plus impressions is across the board no matter what word I put in there. It's always the same.
Okay.
Is that, I mean, like.
Yeah, that doesn't, I think what that's looking at is the total inventory in their network weekly. I don't think that is related to your particular keyword.
Oh, so am I on a wrong, is this page not where I should be when I'm putting in the different keywords and looking for the information for the assignment?
Well, no, you're in the right spot. You're basically looking for any information about this market and these particular keywords related to if it's, gender specific, if it's device specific. Like notice on the device there, 72% mobile. So
that's common across the board with every word. Like that's what I think we talked about this in the beta group, that no matter what I put in, those numbers kind of stay the same. Like I don't get much fluctuation with anything that I put in.
Okay, well, I think what you're looking at here is you're looking at the total network inventory, and I think that might be the problem.
Well, I mean, even the male and female portions, like it's all 60% unknown, like 59 and above. It's no matter what word I put in, the unknown is the most popular. Male and female is pretty close. And then it's always mobile is the most popular. So no matter what I'm putting in, those numbers across the board, the whole graph, don't change a lot.
Does it work on individual targeting ideas the same way?
Well, everything I've written down, like I kind of played with every button I could, Ted. That's a good question. And the numbers, like I just changed over to individual targeting ideas and nothing really changed from it. So I'm kind of like, am I doing something wrong?
Well, scroll down there a little bit. Down into the keyword section. And then go ahead and like any of those keywords, do any of those relate to what you're looking at?
Nope, it's not electronic. And that's something I talked to Barb about, that every word I put in there, I played around with some of these words even. And so if I like electronic health medical record, if that's $1.50 to $2, is that key? Is that like a big deal that we're looking for the $1.50 to $2 words?
Well, what that shows you, the higher the dollar amount there, that means the advertisers are willing to pay more for that particular keyword. So sometimes that's a clue as to that's a commercially viable keyword. Okay. Somebody's willing to, this is all auction style. So the higher that goes, that means there's more people willing to bid on it, and it gets to a certain point of is it worth that much? They'll only pay so much. Like if they know they can't convert that into a profit, they might not go that high. So the higher it goes, that means it's more, there's more profitable. It's a profitable type keyword.
So does that mean that when I'm writing up my verbiage, with everything, that I should be including like patient medical records. You don't want to have your patient medical records put in with some system. Is that how you use this information to write your headlines and your ads?
It can be. Really, what you're doing is you're uncovering a lot of data, and it's your interpretation of the data that's actually going to be worth something. So, like looking through all of these different keywords, when you scroll down, is there anything specific to, to like your medical diary or medical journal or anything like that?
No, because, well, like medical is, but most medical journals are like a written journal from a institution or a doctor, and mine is more like a diary. So I played around with all types of words, and I'm just not sure how to use this information, like what I do with it.
Yeah.
And so I think that's part of like doing the assignment is one thing, but I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do with it.
So what's happening here is this really kind of exposes that your prospects are in the unaware stage.
Totally unaware.
Because they're not searching, so that's why you're not seeing keywords related to that.
Right.
So really, there's a couple of things that you're going to glean off of this. One of them is search engine optimization is not going to be your right form of traffic.
Okay.
And neither is pay-per-click, because no one's looking for what you've got.
Right.
That doesn't mean that they don't need it, and it doesn't mean that you can't get it in front of them. But in this aspect, it means that this is probably not the right traffic source for you.
Okay.
So, if nothing else, you learned that.
Right. So then, so I don't worry about like, oh my gosh, I got to get the right words, I guess.
Yeah. If there's going to be certain things when you're doing your analysis, there's going to be stuff that just doesn't pertain to you, and that's okay. You can go ahead and skip that in that point. But you want to look and you want to kind of dig and see if there is anything that you can get out of this information.
Okay.
It really is your interpretation of this analysis that's going to be what you take into the next phase.
Okay.
So,
well, I just was confused over the history CPC. Like, am I looking for good numbers? Am I using that in my writing? But that helps.
like see where it's $3 to $5 for family practice medical clinic.
Yeah.
They know that if they get somebody into their clinic, that's going to be a high dollar sale. There's nobody's going to go into the clinic probably for less than $100 or a couple $100. So they can afford to pay up to that amount to go ahead and get in front of those people.
Okay.
Because they know they're only going to pay if that ad gets clicked on. That ad might display to thousands of people, and if somebody clicks on it, that's when they're going to pay the $5. But they know that if somebody does click on it, the odds of them really needing what they have and being a good customer is worth the $5. So if that was like below $1, I would say, well, they probably tried it and they discovered that, hey, this isn't worth paying too much for, and so you should learn from that as well. But like, I'm curious, just go back to the top, scroll to the top of the keyword information here. Back down a little bit. Okay, so that electronic health medical record, just go ahead and click on that. And what that's going to do is that's going to open up the information for that particular one. So this is where it changes your data. So now you're seeing the data for just this particular keyword. So what you were seeing before is the information for the whole ad group. So look at desktop now. It outweighs mobile for that particular keyword. So does that make sense?
Yeah. I think that just for people's reference on what to do with this, if you could do a little demo like that and just show people what they're looking at. I don't know if anybody else is having that problem, but I think
I thought I did that in the thing, but I can tell you one thing, this has changed since I did the recording already.
Oh.
Because before, when you did what you just did and you did that click, it would put the information over in the right bar.
Oh.
So that's the whole problem with doing step-by-step training with a Google tool is by the time I'm done recording it, it's it's out of date already.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so more what I'm trying to do is I'm more trying to do the methodology behind why we're doing it, and then you can kind of poke around and kind of, you know, work on your own to figure it out. But each time you select a particular keyword, this is giving you the data for only that keyword. So notice the gender changed quite a bit. Your devices changed radically. In fact, it shifted from majority mobile to the majority desktop. And your age groups changed as well.
Yeah.
So what you were seeing before, and I think the reason that wasn't changing much is because it was showing you an entire group. It was showing you the average across the entire group.
Okay.
So if you want to see, the group averages really don't help you a tremendous amount because some of the keywords are not going to be related. So you're averaging stuff that's not really related.
Okay.
Hey, John.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Sharon.
So Cheryl, can you go back to that page where you just were? So when you were telling her, John, about that network, should we like be clicking that button off? Would that change it? Where it says the entire network on off? You see where that button was?
I didn't see that one, but it's okay to search the entire network. It's just when you get into the actual analysis of it, you want to be looking at particular keywords, the keywords that relate specifically
This
to your project.
This
Yeah, right at
ideas?
just right there under the device, the purple, it says total network inventory and it says on.
Oh, yeah, to the right down below the devices.
Mm-hmm. So, but that's not what you're saying. It's okay to leave that on and search.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine
by changing that. Okay.
But what you want to do is you want to create analysis based on the keywords that are specific to what you're looking at, not the entire group, because there's going to be a bunch of stuff in that group that's completely irrelevant, and you don't want to be basing your data on irrelevant stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Yeah. So that's important, you know, going in here and really understanding what you're looking at, and also knowing that this is really just an interpretation. So if you want to stop sharing, I think you can do.
I'm trying to figure that out. I got to get back to my big screen. It went small on me. Oh, you guys are all on the right. Now I can't see anybody.
I can.
I don't know where everybody went. Oh, okay, there you are on a small screen. I don't even see my menu to do that. Okay. Sorry, guys.
Okay. Well, I can go ahead and
oh, stop share. There it is.
There you go.
I found you. There you are.
Okay. I was going to say I could take it back over and then stop it.
Nobody said I was tech savvy.
Hey, this isn't the tech call, so you're good. But yeah, that's, you know, another thing about analysis, like I said a little bit earlier, there's going to be some stuff that doesn't pertain specifically to you. You know, analysis, we've made it really broad. It's like almost everything that I know of that you could look at. But some of it, you know, depending on your particular niche, might not be related at all, and that's okay. Just know you can skip over that. Now, the fact that now you can skip over things doesn't give you an open license to skip over everything. But you know, anything that's not related or not pertinent, feel free to just, you know, go right over the top of it. Don't let that stop you or hold you back. And also understand too, Sue's got something going on over there. I think she's doing gymnastics or something. But anyway, don't let that stop you if you don't know what something is or whatever. Just, you know, fly past it and then come back and, bring it up on the call or whatever. If you don't get it, that's perfectly fine. And also, I've said this a couple of times in a couple of different ways, but there's not going to be any tool that's going to give you definitively an answer of who your avatar is. And I know that's some of you guys are thinking, hey, I'm going to get this information and then I'm going to know who my avatar is. You're going to have to interpret the data and really intuitively figure that out. Like, especially when you're creating your avatar, like when it comes down to, like when you're making your avatar's testimony, you're making a testimonial, the whole purpose of that is so you can get into your avatar's shoes and feel the frustration that they're at in their current position on their timeline. And then you can advance forward and you can see the transformation to where they are after they've experienced your product and they've got the desired outcome out and it's fulfilled through your product. So when you can see that transformation, it's going to make the whole thing a lot easier when you get to your copywriting and you can understand where they are. You can feel their frustrations, like that empathy grid. All of those pieces are done for a reason for when you get to copywriting. All of that stuff is going to be absolutely invaluable when that time comes. So I know it's a lot of work and it's a pain in the ass and it takes a long time, but I guarantee you it's going to be what's going to make you successful when you get to the next step. If you get to the next step and you start trying to write copy and you don't have that stuff, you're going to be lost. And there's nothing worse. If you think analysis is confusing, try and do your copy without having the analysis done, and you're going to really understand what confusing is. And you're going to get frustration at a whole new level. But if you take all this stuff forward and you sit down and you start doing your creation one piece at a time, and I actually broke it up that way. I broke it up into one chunk at a time. You'll find that most of what you need is going to be right there in your workbook. It's going to be right there for you. So it's the whole purpose of it is to make that job easy and to make the outcome for you effective. Because if you're not writing, if you're not writing your sales material and your marketing materials based on your avatar, I can almost assure you it's going to fail. You're going to be, if nothing else, you're going to be speaking generically to a market, which I think if I haven't proved by now that doesn't work, I don't know what else to do. But that kind of stuff really doesn't work. What's going to happen is you're going to spend a lot of money on traffic and a lot of time, and you're just not going to get very many customers from it. Not to say you won't get any, because it's a numbers game. They say even a blind squirrel can get a nut. So you can get lucky. You can get a really good customer and you can feel like you're on top of the world. But if that customer leaves and you don't have the ability to get another one, what part of the world are you sitting on then? You've moved from the top to the bottom and you have a long climb. So that's the whole purpose of, having an effective business, is being able to purchase customers. And there's no better way than to take cold traffic and be able to buy cold traffic cheaply and have that cold traffic go through your marketing campaign, consume your marketing materials. And if you make your marketing materials correct, they won't feel like marketing materials. They'll feel like things that your prospect actually needs and you're educating them. It won't feel at all like you're marketing to them. It won't feel at all like it's a sales program. It will be helpful. They will consume the content and they'll get great value from it and they'll be very thankful for having it. So when it comes time to, to build that part of your process out, that's what's going to make that happen, is all that information that you pulled out of that first step, out of that analysis.
Hello, John.
Yeah, go ahead, Ted.
You know, I think a lot of people overlook the power of reviews when it comes to competitive analysis, especially their top competitors. I mean, when you check out their reviews, you can find out what people like, what they don't like, what their unique selling point is. I mean, there's a lot of information in reviews.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think that would be a good thing to look at. If there's similar products, like when you're doing your competitor analysis, some products lend themselves very well to Amazon. So if you're in a market where your product could be sold or a similar product is being sold on Amazon, Amazon has a great review system. So does eBay. A lot of the big companies, the big retailers out there have a lot of reviews. So like Ted said, looking at reviews to find out where the frustration is in the market. Like if there's a lot of customers that are buying a particular product and they're frustrated with it, guess what that lends to you is an opportunity to create a unique mechanism to look at what it is that they're actually looking to achieve, attaching your product through a unique mechanism to deliver the result that they want. That this has gone on in history over and over and over, because a lot of the stuff that we're buying today was sold 50 years ago, and there's more manufacturers, there's more competition. So who's going to make the sale? Who's going to get the sale? It's going to be the one that has the unique selling proposition. That's what we call the unique mechanism. It's what is it about yours that's going to deliver the result. And I've used that Garcinia cambogia many times now as a perfect ideal example of a unique mechanism. When the product came out on the market, in the very beginning, imagine if you were the first guy to sell a diet pill to the market. I mean, imagine how good an opportunity that would be. If you were the first person to come into the market with a world of people that are overweight, a huge problem, a known problem that people are searching for an answer, and you come out with this magic pill, and your promise to the market is take the pill and lose weight. That's a simple brain dead thing that anybody that wants that outcome says, wow, I can just take a pill and I'll lose weight. Great. I'm in, I'll buy. And then what happens is they go ahead and they buy the pill, and it doesn't really do what it said it was going to do. And now the market has a belief. The prospect now has a belief. Well, I bought the pill and it didn't work. So how likely are they to buy another one with that belief? So understanding the belief of your avatar is critical if you want to sell to them, especially if you're selling something they've already tried. So if they have that belief that I took diet pills and the diet pill didn't work, how effective is your sales funnel going to be at selling that prospect a diet pill with no unique mechanism? It's not. You can buy all the traffic you want and you're not going to convert, because the market has the belief that diet pills don't work. So what you need now to overcome that objection, the beliefs become your objections. So discovering those in the analysis process is critical. So now that you've discovered the objection, what do we need in the creation process? We need a formula to overcome the objection. And remember what that is? Anybody? Nobody? CPB?
CPB, yeah.
Claim, proof, benefit. So what you've got to do is you bring your unique mechanism forward and you make a claim. You say, diet pills without Garcinia cambogia don't work. So now what you're doing is you're revealing your unique mechanism that delivers the result. You're dispelling the rumor and you're creating a new belief that, wow, maybe diet pills do work. It's just now the one I took before didn't have the Garcinia cambogia, and that's why it didn't work. I understand now. Okay. I want the pill that works. So what are they going to want? They're going to want the one with the Garcinia cambogia. So you follow that up with proof. You put a couple of proof points into the market that solidify that and basically make it so it's not you saying it, and now it becomes true because it's not just you saying it. A lot of people, they're tainted and they won't believe what you tell them, no matter what it is, no matter how logical you are, until you back it up with third-party data. That's why that's so important. You can't just make the claim. You have to add the proof to the back end of it. So now we've made the claim, we've added the proof to it, and now what? We go into the benefit, claim, proof, benefit. Now, the way we create benefits in the ACT program is by three-dimensionalizing them. We make it to where you hear it, you see it, and you feel it. So the hearing it is they're hearing the benefit, which the benefit to this is you're going to lose the pounds that you don't want. You're going to lose the weight, right? So that's the hearing it. Next, you want to bring that 3D effect in, and you want them to see it. So now you're accessing a memory, because they probably weren't always at that weight. They want to lose weight and get back to somewhere where they were in the past. So you say, you remember when you were 20 pounds lighter. Remember what that looked like. And they'll have a picture of that. They know what they looked like 20 pounds ago. They know what they looked like when they were in their ideal weight and they fit into their clothes. They know what that looked like. So you bring that up and you activate that. And now you've created that picture in their mind. It's like anybody that says you can't take over someone's mind is out of their mind. Because as soon as somebody hears something, that's why you hear it, see it, feel it in that order. As soon as you hear something, you're automatically drawing pictures in your mind, even if your eyes are closed, even if you're blind. That's the way we work as human beings. We see things visually without our eyes. We don't need our eyes to see. Like you guys are looking at me right now. If you close your eyes and you think about me, you'll know what I look like still, even with your eyes closed. And that's because you've got the picture in your head. Anything you've ever seen before, you know what it looked like. You can bring it up as a thought anytime you want. So accessing that picture of what they looked like 20 pounds ago is really easy. That's a piece of cake. So now they've heard it, they've seen it. They're much more in touch with it now, and they want it more. And now you bring in the third emotion, which is the emotion of feeling it. And you bring up a future. What's it going to feel like when you are in the clothes and that you find attractive, and they're fitting you perfectly and you feel good, and you walk into a room and you notice people are noticing you? How's that going to feel? So that's the way you describe a benefit. Yeah, Cheryl, go ahead.
I got a question on the journal. I don't want to take up your story, but
my soapbox.
Is claim proof benefit in the analysis part? Is that something we should?
Claim proof benefit is in the creation part.
Okay.
But I'm describing where you getting the information is out of analysis.
Okay.
So when you go to create your claim proof benefit, you're creating a claim proof benefit to change a belief.
Yeah.
You do find the beliefs in analysis.
Yeah. So I just have a question about the journal.
Okay.
Analysis part. So I did all my notes on everything before Basecamp got out on my own paper. I went through the videos.
Okay.
And I started with the first video, and then everything that you said to do, I just did it and made my notes on this.
Okay.
I'm one of those people, like, I don't want to mess up the book in case I need it in the future.
Sure. Yeah, that's no problem. Wherever you get the information, as long as you document it.
Yeah. It's all documented. So when I go to page 26, because Barb encouraged me to definitely, do the book, which I will. My coach said, you got to fill these pages out, every one. So I get to page 26 where it says viral content research, and I'm like, what's that? I don't remember doing anything about that in any of the videos or anything that we did. So I had some confusion over, looking at the lineup of the videos and what we're doing.
Okay, it was in there. It was under the trends section.
Okay, and would it help people maybe next run that you do to maybe put see video whatever for filling out this page, or having instead of viral content research, have trends like so?
Yeah. Anything that you find along the journey, we can note it. And in fact, Gay has access to the to edit and update the template for in Basecamp. So if you send anything, like she's been doing the same thing, like what you said, and she's been updating the little notes and details in there. So if you send that info to her, she's got access to edit that.
Well, she just heard me. It's page 26, Gay, and it says viral content research, which I don't know that anybody's going to make that connection.
I made a note because basically where that's coming from is the BuzzSumo, the articles and things like that you're coming out of the trends research, and so making notes of what articles are trending and what people are going to read. So I'll add to the title trending articles.
Well, I think it just will help people when they're doing the work to see what is matching up with what page, because the consistency was a little bit off there. And you and I had found a couple other ones when we were reading too that we went, what? The wordage was a little different. Okay, so.
Yeah, I've been making notes. If you have some others, I didn't get on at the very beginning of the call, but if you have some other thoughts, be sure and email them to me.
Yeah. So another thing I want to do with this too, and what I've been doing so far, is I'm tying what you're doing in analysis. I'm tying it forward into creation, so you know where it's going, so you know why you're doing it. So let me just touch on that, on the viral content and the trends. The reason for that in analysis is if you know what people are interested in and what they're sharing and the information that's being consumed out there, you'll be much more likely to be able to create good lead magnets when you go in. And one of the things, I'm jumping a little bit forward here into the creation process, but when you create your timeline for your avatar, you first document where they are, what they're feeling, all their frustrations of the current situation, and then you go to the other end of the timeline and you have their desired outcome. Once you have the beginning and the end, then you fill in the pieces of what's the first step. The first thing on the timeline is going to be the first step toward them getting to their desired outcome. What are they going to have to do first? A lot of times they haven't taken that step because they don't have the confidence. A lot of times they'll feel like, hey, I can't even do this. I don't believe I can even get to this desired outcome. So they won't even take the first step. Maybe they don't even know what the first step is. So when you define the first step, when you say, are you tired and frustrated and, you're in the situation, you probably want to be here. And then you describe the desired outcome. And then you come back and you say, to get there, the first step is this, whatever it may be. And sometimes you're going to find that in your trending information. You're going to find what's hot and what's popular and what people are wanting. What do they want to know how to do because they're at that place in the timeline and they want to be at the other place. So sometimes you'll find that right there in your analysis.
I think that Gloria kind of summed up in your call today. Gloria kind of needed that timeline. Like, here you are, Gloria, and this is what you need to do to get to over here, not quit the $30 a month membership.
Oh, yeah.
She's really confused over what to do. So I don't know if somebody wants to, whoever signed her up might want to follow up with her and just, hold her hand a little bit rather than have her just quit.
Yeah, well, I think with her, she is so inundated with everyone telling her along her, her path of what you need to do. She's fallen into that thing of, You know, what do you need to do? You need to write a blog. You know, that's, you know, that's just suicide in business. You know, just to start doing stuff, you know, like if you don't have a plan for what you're doing, nothing's going to work. You know, build a website. Okay, why? You know, what do you want it to do? You know, go to a web designer, pay money to have the web develop, you know, the development take place. But if you don't have that analysis, the creation is going to be a complete waste.
I think you might want to do a little newsletter out to your entire ACT community talking about that, John, because everybody that's buying ACT, if they're not putting one foot forward, you know, even within our own group, I don't know how many people have already gotten their coach and taken the steps. You know, you guys can see that now in boot camp, so you'll be able to tell. But I think that, you know, people are, I don't want to use the word paralyzed, but they just don't know where to start and how to get going. And I think if you send a newsletter out or just a timeline, like, okay, first week, this, you know, it might be in here somewhere, but get this done, get started.
Mm-hmm.
And that analogy, you know, like with Gloria, don't keep, you know, doing blogs and writing books and doing this and doing that without a plan.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I built this entire program, because I've seen, I mean, you have no idea. Craig's group is only one of the groups that I work within. I work with a lot of different communities and I speak at a lot of different places, and I see everyone's at the same stage. You know, they've bought into the fact that, you know, they got to do this. They got to have a website. They got to do a blog. They got to do a podcast. They got to do a radio show. They got to write a book. They got to do all this stuff, but they don't know what the hell they're doing. And doing all that stuff, it's just like, you know, let's just open the wallet up and just pour the money out as fast as we can with no plan of replacing it. That's basically what that is. You know, it's basically, it's, you know, it's business suicide. So, you know, I hate to put it that way, but that's what it is. And all that's going to do is it's just going to lead to frustration and depression and paralysis. Because, you know, how many times are you going to dump money out of your wallet and have it not come back before, you know, you create a belief in your head that business doesn't work and business isn't right for me and I can't do this. And I hate that idea. You know, that to me is the biggest frustration I see, you know, in my day-to-day life, is people that have just given up and stopped because they're so close. They literally are just like one step away, you know, and they just throw in the towel. And, you know, it's the same thing with traffic. Traffic is the same way. I've worked with so many businesses that come to me and they want to drive traffic. And I look at their website and I'm like, there's no way in hell that this website is going to convert this traffic. So what are we doing? You know, could, you know, maybe go back and hire a marketing company, maybe go back and, you know, fix your message, you know, fix your brand or whatever it is that you need to fix, but get that in place before you start spending money. You know, they've got some disjointed pieces a lot of times and none of them fit together. And like I said, there's no marketing. Like, I think you heard me talk to Gloria this morning about the blog. I'm like, if you're just posting stuff for the sake of writing, you know, to hear yourself talk or, you know, whatever, that's social media. That's what you do for your friends and family. And it's cool. You know, if they get tired of you, their recommendation is going to come back to you and say, get a dog, you know, because we're tired of hearing it. That doesn't work in business. In business, you've got to provide value. Money transacts for value. When you pass value across, you get money back. That's the way it works. That's business. So when you're creating and you've moved from analysis into creation and you're in the creation mode, what you're doing is you're creating value. All of your marketing should be creating value. If you want to know how to create value, look at the timeline. Look at the trends. Those both come out of analysis. If you look at the timeline and you see what step does this prospect need to take to get the first step toward their desired outcome, what that's going to do is that's going to re-energize them. That's going to revitalize that dream that they had to get to the desired outcome. It's also going to create confidence that, hey, I knew what to do, I did it, and I got closer. That confidence is going to increase their desire to take the next step. Now, who do you think they're going to look to and trust for the next step? The person that gave them the first step, the one that led them the right way. So that's what you want to do. If you can walk them down the timeline and get them close to that desired outcome. Now, a lot of people will ask me, how many things do I have to give them before I make an offer? That depends on what the how high your ticket is that you're selling. If you're selling a $27 ebook, you don't have to go very many steps to do that. If you're selling a $10,000 program, you're probably going to have to give them a lot of value before you've earned the right to ask for 10 grand. So it really just depends. The other thing, the higher the ticket item, the more beliefs you're going to have to come over, the more objections. There's not a lot of objections in a $27 sale, but when you start asking for $10,000, you're going to find some objections come up, and you're going to have to understand those. You're going to have to know what those are from the beliefs in your analysis, and then you're going to have to make claim proof benefit. You might need 20 claim proof benefits. You have to understand what are all those objections going to be. Because when we're face to face, we have the ability to interact and communicate. And you can ask somebody, does this sound good? And they'll say, yeah, it sounds good. And then you can say, well, would you like to move forward now? And they'll either say yes or no. If they say yes, then they have no more objections. If they say no, all that means doesn't mean they don't want to go forward. It just means they're not ready yet. And the reason that they're not ready yet is they probably have unanswered questions. Those are your objections. So when you're doing this in print, in copy, or in video, or you're automating this process, you just have to understand what are those going to be so you can address them so you don't lose them. Because you don't have that luxury of being able to ask them, would you like to move forward now? And if they say no, you ask what's holding you back. And then you uncover the objection. You overcome it, you move forward. You start back over. So you don't have that ability when you automate the system. The system has to anticipate every one of those objections, overcome them before you present the offer. That's why analysis is critical. It's absolutely critical, because how are you going to create that marketing material and that sales funnel and overcome all those objections if you haven't discovered what they are? How are you going to create benefits if you don't understand their needs and their desires? How are you going to appeal to them? Chances are you probably aren't, and chances are they probably won't buy because of that.
You're right, John. Everything comes out of the analysis. The more you know about your competitor, the more copywriting comes out of your analysis. Everything comes out of it.
Yeah, that's why that's the foundation. That's where it starts. That's why it's not tack or cat, it's act.
Okay, I've got a question. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yep.
When you were discussing the blogging and how it might be unnecessary, and I wasn't on the first call to figure out what Gloria was doing, but when Gay and I were doing research on competitors, we came across, there was this one guy that was doing a whole bunch of blogging, knocking down high price sales packages. But I was intrigued, and we watched more. And as we got all the way down, he's knocking down all these products. And then at the very end of his blog, he's selling him his. So besides just being an article slamming something, isn't there, from what we saw in this guy, the title, that's what catches your attention. But then when you read it at the end, he's trying to get you to buy his stuff.
Yeah, what he's doing is he's setting buying criteria when he's doing that. So that's part of creation, is setting buying criteria. When you start training or teaching someone how to consume a product or how to solve a problem, part of the copy is you're basically telling them what to look out for. And what you're doing is you're really crafting a message that says, mine's the one for you and no one else is going to work. But with Gloria, what Gloria's deal was in a nutshell was she was very frustrated, and she said, I've been writing this blog and nothing's happening. And one of the things I said was, well, there's 3 possible problems that you might be facing, and you might be facing all of them. I said, the first problem could be the market. Maybe you're not addressing a profitable market. I said, the second problem you could be facing is maybe you're addressing the market with the wrong message. And I said, and the third problem is you might not have any traffic. And that was truly her problem. She thought she could set up a blog out on the internet and post on it, and that all of a sudden people were going to find it, read it, and be interested in her. And I said, that is a fairy tale. Anybody thinks that they're going to post a blog out on the internet, people are just going to randomly find it and go in. And I asked her, I said, Gloria, is your blog just you writing, whatever's coming off the top of your head, or is there a purpose for your writing? Are you writing marketing material? Are you creating, whatever it is that is going to lead them to their desired outcome? And what I found out was it sounds like what she's doing is a nonprofit, and she's trying to raise money for a cause in Africa. And I said, well, are you focused on creating content that's going to make people feel good about giving money to the people in Africa? And I just kind of outlined a scenario of what I would see as a perfect funnel for her to get people to do that. And that was basically it. But not to say that a blog won't work. If you have a blog and there's a purpose for it, and you're writing information that is backing up a marketing system and you're driving traffic to it, then a blog works fine.
Okay, but this guy was creative to bring this to an end, though. He was slamming anything that was even like a $500 package, telling you the steps of why it was so bad, blah, blah, blah. And when you get towards the end, he's selling you, if you're really smart and think about it, he was selling you a package that was even more, but it was broken down in smaller dollar amounts. And I saw that, I'm like, damn, he's good. This is good.
Yeah.
Okay, figure this guy was creative. All right. Thank you.
So what he was doing was, he was creative in writing his copy to basically create the idea that all the stuff that you've been doing is the wrong stuff and that his is the right stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
and he just happened to be using a blog to deliver it, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with blogs, but, know that a blog is nothing more than just a web page.
Okay.
It's just a web page that you can easily update like a diary. WordPress came out and people started calling it a blog. I don't know who started that. It was probably some internet marketer that wanted a unique mechanism, and it just stuck, and it became the Kleenex of blogs on the internet. But it's nothing special. A blog is just nothing more than a web page that is updated on a regular basis, which most web pages should be updated on a regular basis anyway. So technically, your Facebook page is a blog. So, there's some Facebook pages that actually convert. They deliver highly relevant information that's useful to the prospects. Now, some Facebook pages just share whatever comes off the top of your head, and it doesn't really serve any purpose. And that's for your friends and family. They'll put up with that. your consumers won't. If you don't provide value, they're gone. They're looking for the next guy that will. You know, your friends and family are the only ones that are going to follow you when you say ridiculous stuff. They're the only ones that are going to watch again to see what you say tomorrow. You know, unless you're Howard Stern and you got really good stuff to say. All right. So anybody else? Is anybody, you know, in analysis and haven't running into problems, or anybody's been successful that you can share your insights? I hope you guys are not just in paralysis. and that's really what this is all about. My hopes is for the apprentice program and these calls to actually get you over paralysis, because if you're in paralysis, there is a reason for it. And the most popular reason is you just don't know what to do next. And that's why you get on here. You know, that's why we've created the base camp. That's why we've created this whole system. So if you're in paralysis and you're not asking questions, you know, it's probably your intent to just stay there. And if that's what you want, I'm fine with it. But know that your results are going to stay where they are. If you're truly looking for results, that's what we put this together for. And it, you know, it's my promise to you is to do everything I can do to make sure you get where you want to go. But I can't do that without your help. So if anybody is comfortable in paralysis and that's just where you want to stay, your actions are going to tell me that, and it's fine. I'm not going to badger you. I'm fine with it.
Do you want to add clarity from what you shared with me and Gay on the best media ads, what we're supposed to be looking for, the whole purpose?
Oh, yes, that's a great point. In analysis, when you're doing your competitor research and you're looking at competitors' ads, in the workbook, we're gonna create an electronic workbook in Word format where you can copy and paste those ads. But some of the stuff that you're looking for is you're looking to see what hooks and headlines they're using. You're also looking to see how long the ad has been running. And in some cases, they might tell you what people are paying, you know, for the ad. So like in SEM Rush, it'll tell you when the ad was first run, when it was last run, how long it's been running. So if somebody has an ad that's been running for 2 years, chances are there's a pretty high likelihood that that ad is producing. If the ad ran for 6 days and then it stopped and it never ran again, chances are they tested it and it didn't convert and they abandoned it. So not only can you learn what worked, you can also learn what didn't work. So that's some of the stuff that you're looking at when you're looking at, you know, the ads that people have run. You're looking at the graphics, you're looking at the headlines, you're looking at the calls to action, and you're also looking at, was the ad successful based on how long it's been running, how much they've spent on it, all that kind of stuff.
Hey,
And
John, I got a question.
Yeah, go
This
ahead.
is Justin. What software do you use? I've seen a few people use some softwares to look at competitor Facebook ads. Do you have any recommendations on that? I didn't see that in the site yet, and I'm wanting to do some research on Facebook.
The best one that I know of for Facebook is called AdsVisor. Are you familiar with that?
I think that was the one Anthony started telling me about, but I lost it. So now I need to write it down.
Yeah, it's called AdsVisor, and I can look it up. If you need a link for it, I can look it up for you.
Yeah, that'd be great if you could do that.
Okay, sure. Yeah, AdsVisor. What that does is that will tell you like what competitors have been running ads on there and what, you know, what audiences they're hitting and all that kind of stuff. It's a pretty cool tool.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, that'll be useful. Thank you.
Sure, absolutely. There's a couple of other ones I've seen hit the market recently. I'm trying to think. I think it's called Blue Page Pro, And I just bought it like a week ago. I haven't had a chance to play around with it, but I'm pretty sure that's the name of it. It's Blue Page Pro, and that's another Facebook tool. I looked at the marketing materials, and it looked like it was pretty good. It looked like it was actually a phenomenal tool for Facebook ads. And so anyway, I went ahead, bought it, put it in the arsenal, and it's probably one of those things I may never get around to, but it's there when I need it.
Cool. Yeah, that again, yeah, I'll look into that. How much was that a sale? Was that like a lifetime deal, or is that still like a reasonable price?
Blue Page was a one-time fee, and it was, yeah, it wasn't very much. I think it was like under $50.
Okay. Well, I'll see if they're still offering that.
Yeah. Now, AdsVisor, I think when I bought AdsVisor, it was a one-time deal, and I think it's a monthly now. But I don't remember what it cost. I think it was a couple $100 for AdsVisor.
Okay.
So
cool.
You know, John, one thing that I want to, that Barbara and I talked about is that even though we went through the videos and watched them all before, you know, and most everybody on the Dream Team, you know, went through the videos and saw them and everything, and they, you know, got an idea of what it was, it's totally different going back through each one and then each video and each pages implementing what on the project that we're working on.
yeah, that's a great point. Whenever you do a new project, until you get really proficient at this, when you get really proficient at it, you can jump all over the place. But until you get there, you're probably going to run 10 to 20 campaigns before you're to that point. And you're probably thinking, as painful as the first one is, I'm not into root canals with no Novocaine, right? So, but seriously, this is an incredible skill to have. And, you know, if you're going to get good at this and you're going to do this, you know, for multiple different avatars in your own business, or especially if you're looking at doing this for clients, you know, if you're looking at doing this for clients, you're going to do 10 to 20 of them before you get really good at it. And you no longer need the, you know, the system to be by your side. You'll be able to do it intuitively. But every time you do it, it's important that you go back and you follow the steps and lean on the system to follow the steps. Don't go on memory, because you're never going to remember it all. There's too much. So that's why, you know, putting it down in a linear system, and that was something I learned from you guys. I mean, I learned that from the Dream Team, and that's why we went through that process. You know, I've been doing this for over 20 years. That's why I was able to do it without the system, and I could just flow the stuff out, and you guys were like freaking out. You're like, how did you get there? And I didn't even know. So that was the whole point to putting this all down in a linear system. So as you're doing it, like I said, until you get really proficient, go back for each avatar. Even if your avatar is just slightly different, you know, open up your workbook and just go back through it and see what you can pull and what you can glean off of each different one. So, and you're going to see it differently. It's like, you know, they say to read Napoleon Hill's book once a year, you know, the Think and Grow Rich. And Perry Belcher, he talks about this. He's like, read it this year and go through with a yellow highlighter and highlight everything you feel is important. And then he said, next year, go back and read the book again with a green highlighter and highlight everything that you feel is really important. And he said that when he did that, there was not one thing that was yellow before that he highlighted. He got completely different experience reading that same book 1 year apart. He went back a third year with a pink highlighter. Same thing. Said he's done it 5 years running, and every time he gets different. He gets a different message out of it. So I would really encourage you guys to do the same thing with the ACT program. Go back through. Don't be afraid to just go back as though you've never seen it before and just do it from scratch. You're going to learn it at a different level. I mean, just me teaching it to you, every time I do it and go through it, I learn more about it. So that ought to tell you something. If you think you can't learn, more from it every time you go through it, you're kidding yourself, because I do. I learn more from it every time I go through it.
I can't imagine there's anybody that feels like they can't go through the steps. I don't know how you could possibly even do a funnel without doing it that way.
You can't do. I guarantee you can't make an effective funnel without following this or something very similar to it.
Yeah.
John,
if you look at all the major funnel builders, the guys that are doing this, they're doing it based on a competency that they have. But if you look at the steps, you'll see they're following this program, whether they know it or not.
John, could you go over the prospect awareness? How you helped me understand it a little better when we had what our product was?
Yeah, the prospect awareness pyramid, you're going to have prospects. You're going to have your avatar could be at any level in that prospect awareness. They could be anywhere in the pyramid. All it means is they're at a different point in the timeline. So what you're going to do is you're going to figure out for your particular guy or gal, where are they? Where are they most likely to be on the timeline or in the pyramid of awareness? Are they completely unaware? Like Cheryl's are completely unaware. They need it. They just haven't been woken up to the fact that they need it yet. So her whole entire market is going to be in that unaware category. When they're in the unaware, that's the longest marketing campaign you can make, because you have to take them from the unaware state to making them aware of the problem, making them aware of the solution, making them aware that there's actually a product that makes the solution easy, and then making them aware of the offer. So you basically have to take them all the way through the entire pyramid to get them to the point of you're going to make a sale to them. So that might be a very fast run. Like if you're just a $27 sale or a $50 sale, you don't have to go to great depths at each one of those steps, but you still have to walk them through those steps. You might be able to do it in a 10-minute webinar. You might be able to do it in a 10-minute sales video. You could get a $50 sale in 10 minutes, just stepping them through each one of those steps very quickly. So like I said, depending on how many of those different levels you've got to take your prospect through and how much the dollar amount is, that's going to dictate how long your marketing funnel is. But let's say for instance, your avatar is product aware. If they're product aware, for the most part, you're going to know that from your analysis, because they're going to be searching keywords. They're going to be searching for solution-based keywords. So that's going to tell you they're problem aware and they're looking for a solution. So if that's your case, then that's where your lead magnets should address that. It should address the problem. You don't want to address them at the unaware state. You want to address them at wherever they are. So if they're solution aware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say if they're problem aware but not product aware.
Yeah.
Okay, you start them at product, or do you start them at problem?
You start them at problem.
Problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if they're problem aware, they're just not aware of the solution yet. They're aware they're in misery. So they're aware of the back pain they have. They may not be aware of all the solutions for it yet. So if you start talking about solutions, you're a little bit ahead of where they are. So you want to address them where they are. So if they're solution aware and they're on Google and they're typing for solutions to their problem, then you want to address them with your unique mechanism at that solution aware time. You want to say, there's a lot of solutions out in the market that just don't work because they don't have the blah, blah, blah unique mechanism. And that's going to spark their interest. They're going to say, wow, what is that? I want to know more about that. And that's a really good way to draw them into your marketing material. So you never want to go backward. Like if someone is already solution aware, you don't want to go back and talk about the problem. They're beyond that. You don't want to talk to them as though they're unaware of the problem because they're beyond that. So always know that you could have your whole marketing campaign could start at the unaware, but you don't want to put people through that if they're already beyond that. So have different lead magnets that bring them into your marketing campaign at the right place and then just advance them forward. Like for me, I have a mailing list of people that follow me for SEO products. And like for them, they're already at the product aware. They're actually at the offer aware place. So I can literally go in and write an email to that group and say, hey guys, I understand the problem. I know we've already, we've had this problem forever as SEO professionals. I just found this product. I bought it. I tried it. It worked. This is how I use it. I would recommend that you buy it. And I can send them right from that 2-minute email right to a sales page with zero marketing because they're already that high in the funnel. I can avoid all the rest of that. I don't have to send them to a webinar. I don't have to send them to a sales page. I don't have to send them to a video. They are buying it because I bought it. I already went through all that for them. I'm telling them it works. This is how I use it. I recommend it. Here's where you buy it. I send them right to the sales page. And they appreciate that because it saves them time. If I were to send them back through a webinar and they're going to spend 90 minutes, half of them wouldn't buy it. I'd lose half of my affiliate commissions because I'm sending them back to a place in time that's before where they are on the pyramid. So does that make sense? So I've tried that and I got that result. I mean, I literally got half of the sales I normally would get from that same audience. And that's a lesson in sending them to the wrong point in the pyramid. That's all it is. So that's why understanding, where your particular Bob is, how you're going to address them, what lead magnets you're going to make. It also comes down to where they are on their timeline. On their timeline, they might be beyond the frustration. They might be in the hunt for a solution on their timeline. And here's another thing. I've said this a couple of times in different forums and different modes and on webinars, but I want to reiterate it here because it's really important. and I know this is probably more of a creation piece. This is what I get into when I get into the HD product creation, the high demand product creation. But your prospect, when you deliver the result of your first sale and they get the outcome, they are at the end of their timeline now. They've gotten the desired outcome, hopefully, that you've delivered that. And what happens to their timeline? Does it just disappear? No, it starts over. Now where they are, they're at the beginning of their next timeline. This is where your back-end products come in. And again, this is in creation, but you'll know this from analysis. Like if you look at the maternity dress model, what happens when she gets to having the baby? That's the end of the timeline for that maternity dress, right? It's no longer needed. But her timeline just started over. Now what does she need? She needs diapers. She needs a crib. She needs all kinds of crap. Her timeline literally started over. What happens when she gets out of the infancy stage? That timeline is over. But guess what? It started a new one. It started the toddler phase. So all the stuff that they're going to need there. So that is going to bring you to the most profitable part of your business is the follow-up sales, anticipating what's next on their timeline. If you can forecast that, you'll make an absolute fortune through the lifetime of this prospect. That's where the game gets really interesting. The first funnel you should be looking at is just purely client acquisition. Don't try and make a killing on your first funnel. You don't need to make 10 grand on that. It's just client acquisition, knowing there's a lifetime of money to be made from this client. Even if we just break even on the first client, that's okay. Like in the maternity dress, I said, you don't have to make money on the dress. And she didn't understand. She's like, well, how am I going to make money? How am I going to do a business if I'm not making any money? I said, don't worry, we're going to fix that in the back end sales. So client acquisition is the most important thing in any business. If you have no ability to acquire clients, you have no ability to sell to those clients in the future. Just because if that becomes a problem, if that's your biggest problem in your business is you can't acquire customers at a profit, I'm going to tell you that's not a problem. As long as you can acquire the customers, we can always make profit on the back end. That's the most expensive thing in your business that you'll ever do is client acquisition. Selling to prospects is much different than selling to customers. Once someone is purchased from you, selling them the next thing is really easy, especially if you've delivered on the first one. If you've taken them on a timeline and you've delivered the desired outcome, they're going to be so apt to buy anything you recommend. It's ridiculous. As long as you provide value and give them what they need and anticipate it. Here's the big thing, like with the pregnancy dress, the maternity dress, the fact that she had anticipated every step of the next 18 years and knew it before the mom knew it. That's like her best friend. She's almost literally sitting there waiting to go, what do I need next? What do I need next? And she becomes dependent on that person. That's what you want. That's high demand products. When we get into HD product creation, that's what it's all about. So again, I just, I wanted to skip kind of forward there, but that timeline, the idea that once you advance them to the end of the timeline, the game just starts over. And that's the best part of this whole thing. That is opportunity and a golden basket for you. So don't worry if you don't make a huge landslide profit on your first product. Don't worry if your first funnel is not profitable as long as it acquires customers and we have the ability to sell more stuff to them in the future. That's the goal. So, all right, anything else? Anybody got anything that's come up from that or? All right. Well, that will probably wrap up our analysis, our first analysis call here. I know we went a little beyond the boundaries of analysis, but that's okay. So, last chance. Anybody else here? Okay. Somebody says, what does my shirt say? It says, I run this town. It's the Snoopy shirt. I have a funny story about this shirt. Me and Barb were coming back from Canada, and I was wearing this shirt when we went through customs, and I was carrying something in front of it, so all the custom agents could see was I run, and he's looking at me like, well, that shirt certainly seems like a lie. The only place you look like you run is to the buffet. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty aggressive for one of these agents to be saying, but he was pretty funny. He was a joker. And he looked at Barb and he says, all that says about you is I know you're a good cook. So anyway, that's my funny shirt story for today. All right, guys, that's about all I got for you for today. Our next call going to be next Thursday. And I believe that one is going to cover copy and technology. I'm thinking about combining a couple of these calls instead of having 6 of them. Since our group is kind of small right now, I'm thinking about taking the Facebook and the pay-per-click and combining those into one call. So that way you don't have to show up for 2 calls on one day. And I'm also thinking about combining the tech and copywriting into one call. So we may do that this next Thursday, is just have one call instead of having one at 12:30 and then one at 4 or 4:30, whenever it is. So I'll put a note out about that and just remind you. Yeah, Gwen, did you have a question? No? Okay. Thought you were raising your hand at me there.
It's at 4. I'm just looking at it.
At 4, okay. Yeah, so I think we're going to combine those and probably just do the 12:30 call and see how that goes. Because I think we can cover both the copy and the tech at this point, because I think a lot of you are not quite to that phase yet anyway. So, all right. So anyway, that's it for this week. So I'm going to go ahead and kill our recording.